because that is a really blockbuster story. The fact that the former Bank of Canada governor, a year since he's left his post, has basically, laid open what he sees are the problems with this stimulus package, this $40 billion stimulus. Even going so far as to saying, hey, raising taxes wouldn't be so bad. Like, why don't you up that GST? And of course, you saw in the questions today the Prime Minister dismissed that as well. And he ended off the press conference, as you said, Dan, saying that he's providing a very realistic picture. He's not going to be a pessimist, though. He's going to provide hope, and he's going to base that hope, he's going to put policy behind that hope. And
the other thing the Prime Minister mentioned, and I think a lot of folks who actually make things happen would have some sympathy for this, you've got to tie your philosophy and your economic predictions, you've got to tie them to policy. You actually have to do something about it.
Right.
So when you look at what they've done today, $10 million, obviously not a great deal of money, but what does it accomplish?
Well, they say that they're going to be able to build jobs from this. They'll start out with supporting companies, entrepreneurs, young Canadians who can build businesses over the long term. And so this is just one part of their strategy that they developed in this in their stimulus plan. And we've seen how busy the government has been in this break week. Dan, ministers have been all over the place, and now we saw the Prime Minister and the junior business minister today making this announcement. They have been all over the place talking up their stimulus package and showing Canadians that they are trying to work hard to at least keep an eye on the economy and be ready for when a recovery does happen. And that's the message that the Prime Minister has been hammering away at for the last couple of weeks. In fact, some very startling statements from the former Bank of Canada Governor David Dodge. He's put the Prime Minister on the defensive when it comes to when we're going to be recovering from this.
This is probably going to be a little bit slower recovery than that we had coming out of 1982 or that we had coming out of 1990-91, the last two major recessions. And so I think the Prime Minister is absolutely right in saying that it's likely we're going to do as well as or better than other countries. We have much stronger fundamentals. We have a stronger banking system.
Okay, that was former Bank of Canada Governor David Dodge. He left his post a year ago. The Prime Minister was asked about his statements today in Toronto. Let's listen to what Prime Minister Stephen Harper had to say.
We've never seen a period in my time in public life where forecasts have been so all over the map and individuals have changed their own forecasts so quickly. So as I say, we've got a program that the International Monetary Fund has said last week, our macroeconomic policies are exactly the appropriate policies for today's situation. That's what we will continue to pursue.
The Prime Minister was put on the defensive today. He was in Toronto. He was making an announcement. He was asked about Mr. Dodge's statement. And he said, he said economists and their forecasts are all over the map. So, who do you believe?
Well, okay, now I'm going to swing to the other side of Mr. Harper on that one. I mean, that's where I started off. We have so many uncertainties, and we've seen massive fiscal stimulus package being mounted. We've seen monetary authorities doing virtually everything they do. We still have aspects of credit markets gummed up, particularly in corporate financing. We still probably have not reached the bottom of the U.S. housing market. We still got an enormous uncertainty in the car companies. Chrysler talking, and they may even pull out of Canada. How can you be very definitive in your views? I think it's quite appropriate to do, as Mr. Dodd did, raise some of these downsides. Right. Personally, I'm a little bit uneasy with something like the 3.8% growth forecast the Bank of Canada had for 2010. Our own forecast is even lower than the government's, but yeah, I think the Prime Minister is absolutely right. You can't be very definitive at this point.